Can we be clear about this? If Caitlin Clark were not in the WNBA, we would not be talking about the WNBA. She's the only ticket draw in the WNBA. A large percentage of all tickets sold in the WNBA are so people can watch Caitlin Clark play basketball. No one.
Angel Reese, the player who's been riding Caitlin Clark's coattails since their college days, apparently still believes she's the main character in this league's success story, even as ticket prices for their upcoming matchup have plummeted faster than her field goal percentage this season.
To the actual game Saturday. And guys, ticket prices for this game, ooh-wee. I thought they were coming for her too, right? Question mark? Yeah, that's what Angel Reese told us. As she decided that she wanted to play the villain role. Well, it seems that people would rather show up and pay big money to watch Batman and not the Joker.
The numbers don't lie, folks. They never have, and they never will. But apparently, some people in this league are more interested in living in a fantasy world than accepting the cold, hard reality that's staring them right in the face. When Caitlin Clark got injured and was announced to miss at least 2 weeks with a left quad strain, the entire WNBA ticket market experienced what can only be described as a financial earthquake that would make Wall Street traders weep with despair.
The cheapest ticket when Caitlin Clark was playing basketball was $45. And that was because they were filling the stands and there was competition there. People wanted to go watch her play. Now that she's not playing because she's out, because she's injured, the cheapest ticket is $3. Yes, I'm pretty sure a hot dog is more expensive than the seats to go watch these women play basketball. Caitlin Clark is literally making the franchise better. She's bringing in more revenue and she's making more people watch the basketball game. Now,
let's talk about what happened to the Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever game scheduled for June 7th at the United Center. Before Clark's injury announcement, tickets were selling for an average of $210, with the cheapest get-in price sitting at a respectable $86. Then came the news that changed everything. Within 48 hours of the injury announcement, those same tickets dropped to an average of $95, with get-in prices plummeting to a measly $25. That's a 71% nosedive.
Fever Sky tickets dropped 71% on TickPick after Caitlin Clark injury. The get-in price for the Chicago Sky versus Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever game was $86. After Caitlin Clark's injury announcement is now down to $25. And you Angel Reese fangirls will still believe and think that Angel Reese is the reason why people are watching the WNBA. It was as delusional as Angel Reese is and as delusional as her fans are.
But here's where it gets absolutely beautiful, and where Angel Reese's delusion reaches heights that would make Mount Everest jealous. Despite this catastrophic drop in ticket demand, despite the undeniable proof that Caitlin Clark is the engine that drives this entire league's financial success, Reese continues to act like she's somehow an equal draw. The woman who's been playing to half-empty arenas for most of her career suddenly thinks she's the co-star in this production when she's barely a supporting character.
Angel Reese said the WNBA was popular because of her. Why are the views dropping? She said she was popular. How can we get people to watch? I don't even watch. To make the game more popular, we're gonna let fans bet on Angel Reese missed layups per game. Right now, the over-under is at 20.
The contrast between these two players' impact on the league is so stark, it's almost comedic. When Clark plays, games featuring her average 1.178 million viewers. Games without her, a pathetic 394,000 viewers. That's a 199% gap that's wider than the Grand Canyon and twice as obvious. But somehow, Angel Reese still believes she's part of the reason people are tuning in, even though every piece of evidence suggests otherwise.
And no one, I mean no one, is paying to see Angel Reese attempt to play basketball. Hell, not even Mama Reese is paying to watch this lack of skill. My inside sources are telling me that Mama Reese demands free tickets. The Chicago Bravado, they happily oblige because they're also giving away free tickets to the other dozen or so people that show up to the arena.
If you are enjoying, please subscribe. Let's examine what happened when their rivalry was supposed to continue at the United Center. This wasn't just any venue change. The Sky moved their game from the 10,387-seat Wintrust Arena to the massive 23,500-seat United Center specifically to accommodate the demand to see Caitlin Clark. They didn't make this move for Angel Reese. They didn't upgrade the venue because people were desperate to watch Chicago's struggling team. They did it because Clark sells tickets like no other player in league history. The most revealing comparison comes when we look at the tale of two tickets for these rival teams. The June 7th game, with Clark injured, has tickets starting at $14 on Vivid Seats. But their next matchup on July 27th, when Clark is expected to be healthy, has tickets starting at $82. That's an 83% difference between these two games, and the only variable is Caitlin Clark's availability. If Angel Reese was truly the draw she believes herself to be, wouldn't her presence alone maintain some semblance of ticket demand?
Cheapest ticket for the June 7th showdown is $14. The next Fever Sky game after that, on July 27th, which, like the June 7th game, is taking place at Chicago's United Center, which seats 23,500 as opposed to 10,387. The cheapest ticket for that game next month is currently at $82, according to Vivid Seats. It gets much worse. Therefore, there's currently an 83% drop between the two games.
But here's what makes this situation absolutely infuriating. Angel Reese's response to questions about her impact on the league has been to shut down any conversation that might force her to confront reality. When reporters asked if she still believed she was one of the reasons people are watching women's basketball, her response was a dismissive next question. It's the kind of deflection you'd expect from someone who knows the answer would expose the delusion they've been living in. The irony is that Reese was actually correct when she originally said people watch because of both players, not just one, but she was right for the wrong reasons. People do watch because of Angel Reese. They watch to see her get outplayed, outclassed, and outshined by Caitlin Clark. She's the perfect foil, the villain that makes Clark's heroic performances even more compelling.
As a basketball player, I've come to realize that watching Angel Reese is the most frustrating task for me on the planet. Yes, the whole planet. Watch how many times she gets blocked in this possession. What is that? Look at this. Go again. Look at this. Blocked again. She's just kind of just throwing it up there and getting blocked again. If I tear up in this video, I apologize. This is just disgusting for me to watch. The amount of layups she misses. Listen, I'm not a big hater, but bad basketball, and it's bad because she talks trash about it too. Like she thinks she's a bucket. Listen, I will be okay. Watch this. Watch the woman in the corner. Stand up. Sit down. You see her teammate sit up. Watch this slow mo.
The season opener between these teams broke records, becoming the most watched regular season WNBA game ever on an ESPN network with 2.7 million viewers. But here's the question that should keep Angel Reese awake at night. Would that game have drawn anywhere close to those numbers if it was just the Chicago Sky playing any other team? The answer is so obvious it hurts. When we examine the broader impact on the league, Clark's influence becomes even more undeniable. During her rookie season in 2024, the Indiana Fever led the WNBA in total attendance, bringing 340,715 fans to arenas over the course of the year. They set a new league record for total home and away attendance, drawing 643,343 fans to 40 games, an average of more than 16,000 per game.
Caitlin Clark opens second season with a milestone audience against Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky, and that number is, drumroll please, 2.7 million viewers on average, with a peak of 3.1, up 115% versus last year's regular season ABC average. The Aces Liberty, which was the game prior, gave you 1.3 million average. Folks, 1.5 additional million people said, oh gosh, the Indiana Fever are back in action. Let me stop watching the Indianapolis 500 practice. Let me stop watching the PGA golf. Let me stop watching whatever it is I'm watching because Caitlin Clark's about to play.
Meanwhile, Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky have struggled to even win games this season. Reese has maintained her rebounding prowess, leading the league in that category, but rebounds don't sell tickets, and they certainly don't generate the kind of mainstream attention that transforms a niche sport into appointment television. The most damning evidence of Clark's singular impact comes from the specific price movements following her injury announcement. The Washington Mystics game saw average ticket prices fall from $160 to $136, a significant drop for what was supposed to be a marquee matchup. The Connecticut Sun game experienced an 18.5% decrease over just 3 days. These aren't minor fluctuations. These are seismic shifts that reflect the market's honest assessment of what drives demand in this league. But perhaps the most telling statistic is this. When the Sky and Fever met for their season finale last year, the average resale price for tickets surged to $386. Compare that to current prices for their upcoming game without Clark, where tickets are available for as low as $14. The difference is so stark, it's almost mathematical proof of who the real draw is in this supposed rivalry.
One of those things where I don't think the league realizes how much it relies. I don't think the league realizes how much it relies on Caitlin Clark. I think every fan knows how much it relies on Caitlin Clark. I think absolutely every fan knows. But like, Caitlin Clark is bigger than the league.
Angel Reese's insistence on maintaining her relevance in this narrative has become increasingly desperate as the evidence mounts against her. She's taken to interacting more with fans during warm-ups and making public appearances, trying to maintain visibility in a league that's clearly moved beyond her. It's like watching someone try to stay relevant in a conversation that's already ended. The cruel irony is that Reese could have embraced her role as the perfect antagonist to Clark's protagonist. She could have leaned into being the player that makes games more interesting precisely because she provides the conflict that great sports narratives require. Instead, she's chosen to live in denial about her actual place in the league's hierarchy. The numbers from early 2025 WNBA ticket pricing tell the complete story. According to Victory Live, the league's average ticket price is up 43% year over year, rising from $122 in 2024 to $173 this season. But that increase is almost entirely driven by games featuring Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, who command a league-leading $282 average ticket price for road games. The Fever account for 9 of the 10 highest-cost regular season matchups, 8 on the road and 1 at home.
Just take the W. It's going to mean more money for everybody. All the good players in the WNBA are going to make more money because of this. Hell, the NBA right now is about to have an Oklahoma City, Indiana finals. That thing's going to rate as poorly as those games in tape delay in the NBA finals in the 70s. This is going to be awful for NBA ratings, this matchup you're about to get in the NBA finals. Yet the WNBA continues to put up impressive ratings and numbers.
When Clark signed autographs for fans before the season opener, taking time to engage with supporters who arrived early, it demonstrated the kind of genuine connection she has with the fan base. Meanwhile, Angel Reese's interactions with fans feel more like calculated attempts to maintain relevance, rather than authentic appreciation for the people who support the league. The contrast becomes even more apparent when examining merchandise and memorabilia values. Clark's autographed items through Panini range from $500 to $1,250 and quickly sold out. Meanwhile, there's barely any discussion of Reese merchandise commanding similar premium prices or generating comparable demand. The upcoming rematch between these teams in July presents the perfect opportunity to settle this debate once and for all. If Angel Reese truly believes she's a significant draw, then she should welcome the comparison. But based on current ticket pricing trends, with the July game commanding 82 minimum prices compared to 14 for the June game without Clark, the market has already rendered its verdict.
Tickets to the Fever Sky this Saturday are down to $8 with Caitlin Clark out. Wow. Seats for the rematch in Chicago later this year are being listed for $165. Right here. Tickets as low as $8. Tickets as low as $165.
What makes Angel Reese's continued delusion so frustrating is that it undermines the incredible progress the WNBA has made. Instead of celebrating the player who single-handedly elevated the entire league, we're forced to deal with secondary characters who can't accept their supporting roles. Clark brought chartered flights to the entire league. She brought mainstream media attention that the WNBA had been desperately seeking for decades. She brought viewership numbers that rival major men's sports. And yet, Angel Reese still thinks she deserves equal credit for a revolution she had nothing to do with starting. It's like the backup singer claiming they're the reason people bought tickets to see Beyoncé perform. The delusion would be laughable if it weren't so damaging to the sport's continued growth. The reality is that the WNBA needs to protect and promote Caitlin Clark because she's irreplaceable. When she's injured, ticket prices collapse. When she's not playing, viewership plummets. When she's not on the court, the entire league feels smaller, less important, less relevant. Angel Reese, meanwhile, is entirely replaceable, and the ticket market has just provided mathematical proof of that harsh truth.
It went to the middle of the backboard and went to the left side. She grabbed the rebound, shot it back on the other side. Grabbed the rebound again, shot it back in the middle. She had 5 rebounds in a 30-second span and scored no points.
Nuts.
I don't want to hear nothing. When you go 4 for 16 and you taking point-blank range shots, you're not very good. You're not very good.
As we look toward the future of women's basketball, one thing has become crystal clear. There's Caitlin Clark, and then there's everyone else fighting for second place. Angel Reese can continue living in her delusion about being a co-star in this production, but the numbers don't lie, the tickets don't lie, and the market certainly doesn't lie. She's not the main character. She never was. And unless something dramatically changes, she never will be. The sooner Angel Reese accepts that reality, the sooner she can focus on actually contributing to her team's success, instead of chasing a relevance that the market has already decided she doesn't possess. But based on her recent behavior, that moment of clarity seems about as likely as the Chicago Sky selling out the United Center without Caitlin Clark in the building, which is to say, not very likely at all.